Hello, and welcome to our lesson on crisis management. This segment will continue discussing crisis management background. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, stretch, and be elastic in times of crisis. A resilient organization is one that doesn't necessarily combat shocks, but instead adapts its systems and structures. The adaptability grants the organization the ability to recover or restore itself to its original state after the impact of a crisis. The ability to adjust is crucial, not only for an organization to sustain operations in uncertain times, but also when changes are anticipated. The resilience approach distinguishes itself from the traditional approach by placing a greater emphasis on the organization's capabilities, adaptability, and past experiences to solve problems, rather than relying solely on fixed contingency plans. Robustness is the ability of elements, systems, and other units of analysis to withstand stresses and demands without suffering damage, degradation, or loss of function. Robust organizations possess the capability to cope with and endure the impacts of adversity. The systems of a robust organization remain unaltered and resilient in the face of disturbances, exhibiting little to no signs of being affected by disasters. The argument for a robust organization revolves around pursuing capabilities that aim to achieve stability and mitigate the negative impacts of uncertain events or crises on performance. To establish the foundation for robustness, the organizations often incorporate redundancies, plans for reconstructing operations, and a reserve of inventory or capital capable of absorbing the impact of uncertain events. Anti-fragility represents the capability of a system to absorb shocks and get better, allowing it to overcome a crisis and improve its performance. In contrast to a robust organization, which remains untouched by adverse situations, or a resilience approach that centers on accepting and recovering to an organization's original state. Following a crisis, anti-fragility emphasizes the ability to enhance performance during times of increased stress. Both resilience and anti-fragility stem from the same fundamental assumption: that unpredictable events and uncertainties cannot be avoided. However, anti-fragility underscores that an organization should not revert to its original state, but rather leverage its flexibility, adaptability, and responsiveness to change and improve. Anti-fragility is closely tied to how well an organization incorporates the principles of the learning organization. The learning organization comprises 5 disciplines: creating a clear personal vision and maintaining an objective view of reality, fostering shared mental models, building a shared vision of the future, engaging in team learning by discarding assumptions and constructing new ones collaboratively, and implementing system thinking as an integrative stage for realizing these principles. The role of technology and digital solutions is crucial in building anti-fragile organizations. Digital technologies enhance flexibility, positively impacting the relationship between employers and employees in terms of control and freedom. Types of crisis. Planning is the foundation of effective crisis management. Preparation is essential in dealing effectively with a crisis, and the best prepared organizations are those that have taken the time to understand the different types of crisis they may face. The organizations compile a crisis portfolio, prioritize it, and make considered decisions about the crisis for which they should plan. There are 5 broad categories of crisis that are differentiated by their causes and consequences: technical, natural, political, social, and organizational. Some of the factors that lead to crisis situations are physical factors: loss or damage by fire, earthquake, flood, accident, landslip; environmental factors: ecological damage, pollution, waste treatment, public inquiry; design factors: new technology, innovative applications, reliability, safety; detail, precision, and appropriateness of specifications; likelihood of change; interaction of design with method of construction; logistics factors: loss or damage in the transportation of materials and equipment; availability of specialized resources, expertise, designers, contractors, suppliers, plant, scarce construction skills, materials; access and communications, organizational interfaces; financial factors: availability of funds, adequacy of insurance, adequacy of cash flow, losses due to default of contractors and suppliers; exchange rate fluctuations, inflation, taxation, legal factors, liability for acts of others, direct liabilities, local law, legal differences between the home country and home countries of suppliers, contractors, and designers, political factors, political risks in countries of owners and suppliers, contractors, war, revolution, construction factors, feasibility of construction methods, safety, industrial relations, extent of change, climate, quality and availability of management and supervision, operational factors, fluctuations in market demand for product or services, maintenance needs, fitness for purpose, safety of operation. Based on the timing they arise, crisis can be divided in three types: creeping crisis, sudden crisis, and periodic crisis. A creeping crisis develops over time through a series of mutually reinforcing events that collectively escalate into a full-blown crisis. A sudden crisis presents itself as one catastrophic event. Periodic crisis occurs at regular intervals but with varying predictability. Events that could cause periodic crisis are annual budget cuts, changes in management, changes in government. The organizations tend to respond to sudden, creeping, and periodic crises in different ways. For example, in response to a creeping crisis, organizations tend to increase their reliance on tried and tested procedures, rationalize it away, or even ignore it. In contrast, periodic crises stimulate routinized responses manifested in rigid contingency plans that are constructed by internal bargaining processes between competing interest groups. And sudden crises tend to produce a defensive response, particularly if no contingency plans were in place. The purpose of crisis management system is to maintain an alignment between organizational goals and performance by identifying and reacting to events that might cause major deviations. This system, which focuses on extreme risks, should be a specialized component of an overall risk management system, and its importance to an organization depends on several factors, the most obvious being the level of risk faced. This is the end of this segment of our lesson. In the next segment, we will continue discussing crisis management phases. This course is presented to you by South Europe College. Thank you for listening, and see you on our next segment.